I am not going to lie. I am low-key fangirling right now.
I want some nasty. Are we having fun yet?
So I've made it very well known that I love Shaedon Sharpe, and I made it very well known that I love Eason. But this is one of those players that I have to sit back and really question, who do I want? Because this guy is legit. Now, we're going to be going through every single prospect of the draft, as you know. And today, we're going to be talking about the one and only Jeremy Sochan. Wait a minute. Hold up. That's not him. Hold up. There he is. Jeremy Sochan. I'm sorry, guys. That was like a dad joke, and I'm not even a dad. But yes, Jeremy Sochan. That's who we're going to be talking about. So what are we going to be going over? We're going to go over his stats as always. I'm going to go over some of his background that I just found pretty cool. And there's one comparison in particular that I want to bring up that I don't want to bring up, but I do want to bring it up because I kind of have to bring it up, and it's pretty apparent and other people have brought it up, and we just got to bring it up. But there's quite a bit to go over here. So please just stay with me. Okay, just stick with me, and we're going to get through this entire thing because there's a lot to say about Jeremy Sochan. Now let's go into the stats. First and foremost, I'm going to go ahead and be honest. You're going to look at these stats and you're going to question, how the heck is he projected to be a top 10 lottery pick with stats like these? And I promise there's a reason, but I will say that there are some red flags here that we do need to go over before I start just gushing over how awesome he is. All right, so here's his stats. 9.2 points per game, 6.4 rebounds, 1.8 assists, 47.4 field goal percentage. That field goal percentage isn't terrible, but these stats alone, there's nothing to really see here and get super excited about. Now, let's go ahead and scroll down, and this is what I want to point out. Okay, these are the red flags. We got to get this out of the way. So the 47.4 field goal percentage isn't terrible, but I've actually seen some people say that this 29.6 3-point percentage is good, or at least it's average, or it's okay. And no, this is not okay. This is god awful. This is not good when you're shooting almost 3 per game. That's not good. That's not good. That's actually pretty bad. Now I will say this, it's not as bad as this. When you're shooting under 60% from the free throw, that is awful. Free throw percentage is 58.9. That is bad, especially of a guy of his size. He's 230, 6'9", and you really want to punish your opponents when you're running into the paint. Like you want to punish them, and you can't punish them if you're shooting 58.9% from the free throw line. That's just not gonna fly. So these are some things that I just have to point out because they're very blatantly obvious. You're gonna look at his stats, you're gonna look at these percentages, and you're gonna wonder how the heck is he even there. But there are some reasons for that. Now let's go ahead and go into a little bit of his history. This is actually a Reddit that I found, and I have to say I just like how they summed it up. This is absolutely true, and it's kind of weird at the same time. So this is what they had to say about Sochan, just giving a little bit of background. I just want to say Sochan is probably my favorite prospect in this draft, to be honest. He was born in Oklahoma, grew up in the UK, so he has an accent, but he plays for the Polish nation team. Weird, right? He really seems like an OKC guy because super high character, hard work ethic, him being in Oklahoma. Yeah, I get it. But yes, I will say this as well. He's very charismatic, and we're going to listen to him in not too long, but he's very charismatic, hard work ethic. I can't necessarily contest to this, but I have seen quite a few people say that, yeah, he's kind of a workhorse. He is a gym rat, and that's something that you definitely need with these percentages. Okay, you absolutely need some type of motor in that gym with that. Now, I got to paint the full picture for you. So here's another article that I found, and this is what they had to say about him. I'm going to put it in their words, and then I'm going to try my best to kind of compound off of this, but this is worded so perfectly, so I don't really know what else to say. So arguably the most tantalizing first round prospect, Sochan is a bit of an enigma. His swagger is palpable in the way he plays, exploding at the rim for dunks, and emphatically swatting shots from the weak side when the opportunity arises. No matter the size or style of the player in front of him, Sochan is sure to bother the heck out of them with his shifty feet and keen anticipation as an on-ball defender. Now, I will say this, he is a point of attack defender. He is absolutely legit on the defensive end. He can guard anywhere from 1 to 5. I'm just kidding. He can guard from like 3 to 5. But he's really good around the wing, and he's really good in the paint. He has really great anticipation. I will say this, sometimes on the defensive end, he can get a little weird. He can kind of bite on fakes. And it's just, look, it's just young mistakes. Okay, he's super young and he's gonna make those mistakes. Even DeJounte Murray, he's made those mistakes before and he's gotten much better at that. But overall, if he came to the San Antonio Spurs in particular, you know, he can go anywhere, but if he comes to the Spurs, he would easily be the best defender on the team. So moving on, and this is what I think is being missed like crazy in his stats, is this right here. So it's the ball handling and passing flashes that make Sochan a lottery prospect versus a mid to late first round swing. And as you can see here, they even list him as a versatile forward. So one person that he reminded me of in particular, and I know that this is going to sound a little bit weird, but at the end, I'm going to do a bigger comparison than this. But as a forward who's a little more versatile, he reminded me of Kyle Anderson. Now, he's much quicker, obviously, but he reminded me of Kyle Anderson because his defense is really about the intangibles. He's not necessarily showing up on this stat sheet, and that's just going to be the reality of the situation. But if you watch him, he can defend. He is borderline lockdown defender. He does his thing and he plays at with a very high motor. And while he has these red flags here, I'm just going to say this right now. His versatility is really going to make up for it, especially with him being able to ball handle and make very good passes. He's going to have to work on it. But those are that's just a really good baseline floor for me personally. And I think that he could fit in almost any system because of that. Now, let's go ahead and move on because there's one thing I want to talk about in particular about him. And this is some old clips. Okay. He was like 15 right here. But one thing, and that's just some of that versatility. But one thing I do want to bring up, and this is one thing that I think is completely lost sometimes in the NBA and in basketball in general. He legitimately has a go-to move. He has a signature move. And I think that gets way too lost where a lot of players, man, one in particular, I don't want to just call him out, but just do it. Jaren Jackson Jr. in the NBA, like I would love to see him be a little bit more savvy or a little more methodical with his movements, or at least have a signature. He doesn't necessarily have that. And I think that hurts him, where he can obviously get better and get one. But I think that it's really good if a player has a go-to. Now, what is Sochan's go-to? He actually has a spin fade that's really freaking nice. Now, he doesn't always hit it. Obviously, from his percentages, you can see that he's not a phenomenal shooter. And that's kind of like the biggest issue about him. But I will say it's apparent, it's there. He goes to it often. And I will say this as well. He's not afraid to shoot. And that's kind of the big thing. He doesn't shy away from it. While his percentage is terrible at the three behind the arc, he still manages to take those shots because he is, I think, genuinely working on it, and it's something that he's willing to do. Some players, they really limit themselves because they go away from what they have weaknesses in. And I want to bring this up as well, and this is just something that he tweeted out, and it's kind of cute. But here's something he tweeted out. And you know what? You can take this, you get it. I don't have to explain it. I'll just let you look at it for a minute. But I hope that he sticks true to these teachings that he's given himself or something. I don't know. He retweeted this, and I found it cute, and I find it pretty awesome. I hope he sticks to this. But overall, I love the fact that he actually has a signature, because that's kind of lost in today's NBA. There's not a lot of players that have a signature move. Now, we got to do it. We got to do it. That's a little spin jumper. All right, we got to do it, guys. We got to do it. I got to compare him. I didn't want to do this, but his jump shot is very similar to this player. His defense is very similar to this player. His motor is very similar to this player. And forgive me, okay? He low-key reminds me of number 2. He reminds me of Kawhi Leonard in so many freaking ways. Now, he's way more charismatic, as we can see right here. He's just kind of fun to listen to. I don't know. I just listen to him for a second.
Last February, and it was my debut. I was like the youngest person to ever do it for Poland, so that was a great accomplishment, and I'm really proud of that, and I played a good game, so yeah.
He's cold-blooded. He's so cold-blooded. But yes, all right. So he obviously sounds better. I don't know. I don't know what to say here. But I will say this: it's a lot to his game that reminds me of Kawhi Leonard. His shot looks very similar to Kawhi. Kawhi also had kind of struggles scoring initially, and him being a gym rat that he is, he learned how to score more efficiently. Now, I will say this. I'm not expecting him to be as good of a shooter or scorer as Kawhi Leonard, okay? I'm hoping, and this is my hope, that he can make up for it with his facilitating, that he can just become an average to good shooter and make up for it with his being a point forward, essentially. So that's what I'm praying for, but I have to say the similarities are definitely there, and it's glaring. I mean, it's absolutely glaring. One thing I have to bring up as well is this. Yeah, I'm not the only one. So Real GM, they did a comparison and they had to compare him to Kawhi Leonard. So that's the comparison there. A lot of people have made this comparison, and honestly, this is something that someone have pre-made already. So quite a few people have been making this comparison as well, and they've put it on the website. So it's there. Okay, I'm not the only one. People have been saying this, and I see it as well. So let's go ahead and move on. Okay, we're enough of that. We don't want to talk about that no more. I get it. So let's talk about this. So here's some pros and cons. I have not looked at this at all. So I'm gonna see if I agree or disagree with anything. I do like going through these because sometimes it's things that I miss that we can all have an opinion about. Now here we go. So he's 6'9", 230, and let's scroll down here. Mid to late first round, which that might have been no, they updated this. No, they didn't. Yeah, they need to update this. Right now he's projected to be a lottery, but we'll see what happens after the combine. So pros: decent low post scorer, decent shooter, adequate playmaker for his size, solid rebounder, decent defender, solid athlete, solid motor. I agree with all of this. I would say that his motor is more than solid. Athlete, that's one thing I didn't notice, or I didn't mention as well. He doesn't have a whole bunch of lift, but he's big enough, strong enough, fast enough that he can kind of make up for it just a little bit. Now cons: can be reluctant to take threes. I didn't see, that's what I'm saying. I didn't see that. I mentioned it earlier. I didn't see that. Look, he is a poor shooter, but there's quite a few of these that I'm seeing where it's like, no, he put it up. 1 through 4, 1 through 4, over 4. He's just not doing enough to completely destroy his team, his own team, but he is at least taking them. Okay. So I don't know. I'd see it a little differently. I feel like when you're a poor 3-point shooter in general, the fact that you're taking nearly 3 is good enough until you actually work on it a little bit more. But here we go. Bad free throw shooter, terrible free throw shooter. Not an elite ball handler, can be turnover prone. Actually, we have not talked about that. Let's see. Can be prone to turn over the ball. 1.6. I don't know. I'm gonna let you guys be the judge of that one. I don't know about that one. Can be undisciplined defensively. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Sometimes he bites on punt or fakes, and it's very similar to how DJ kind of was early on. Can be too inconsistent in games. Sure, I'm sure they're talking about offensively. Undersized big man in a wing player's body. What? I don't even know what this means. Undersized big man in a wing player's body? Okay, so he's an undersized big man, and I don't know. I don't necessarily agree. I don't know. I think he can run small forward. More than likely, he'll be put at power forward. But I don't know what to say there. Jeremy Sochan is an athletic, energetic big man that has versatile scoring skills. He's a versatile scorer that has shown that he can score out of the post and also knock down jump shots from long distances. He'll need to be more consistent player in games and also be a more disciplined defender. Currently, he projects to be late first round. Yeah, that's not true. He's projected to be a lottery pick now. So that's all they have on him thus far. Now, here's my big board, okay? If I haven't showed you guys this yet, but I am adding on to it. But thus far, this is how I'm doing it. These 3, I'm trying to put them in groups, trying to clump them in groups. But all you really need to know is if the Spurs got top 4 picks, these would be my guys. But everything down from here, you can just kind of go in order. So I would take Jeremy Sochan right now over Eason. That's me personally. I really just love his ability to pass the ball and be versatile in that way. And I feel like the scoring is something that, because of his size, because of his strength, because of his athleticism, he can work on that. He can get better at it. And if he is as much of a gym rat as a lot of people are saying, I think that there's no problem here and he'll be able to do that. Now, it's a close race between these two with me right now. We'll just wait and see what happens as we do more of these prospects. But right now, Sochan is my number 4. He's my number 1 if we end up landing at that 9th, assuming that Sharp is obviously gone. Jaden Ivey more than likely will be gone. So right now, this is what it's looking like for me. And I want to know what you guys think. Like, would you take him? Would you not? But right now, I absolutely love... Wait. I did it again. There he is. I absolutely love him, man. I love this. I love this guy. So you guys let me know what you think. I'll give it to you later. Till next time. Deuces.